Welcome back, my Alpha Squad, to some more Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition. Let's hop right in and see where we gotta go. Does anyone really truly know what time it is? Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Sure, I've adjusted all of the game settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? It's just what I do. Like a day job. And now, the job is over. There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can, and I still don't really know you, and you don't know me. And neither of us know what time it is. I guess some settings are just unsettable, but if I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't do anything in the game anyway. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games weren't meant to be played alone. You like being alone, do you? That's maybe the only information I really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There is still one more setting that we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. It's not really in my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again if you can find me. Talk soon. Okay, let's begin the game. Click to skip. Okay, what haven't we done yet?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, can't go there. Got the bucket.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
This isn't open anymore? Strange.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Where else would the standables be? You know what I haven't seen in a while? The redone options.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I want to check something.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. A cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to
I
him.
was down there.
It should
right?
have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Can you hurry this up? Thank you.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Okay.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up.
Don't tell me it's this exact scenario again.
This is the sad story of a man.
Yeah, it is. Begin the game again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. A good bucket. A strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
A lot of praise for the bucket that you don't like.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
And let's go to the right. Like the correct way. Somewhere both red and blue. Where do we find the red and blue doors?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be
Have we
fined
done
for
this
that.
one yet?
And in such a competitive economy,
Like
why
with the
had he
bucket?
taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at
I'm
the
not
bucket in
saying
his
I'm
arms.
not.
Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He
How long
held
is
the
he gonna
bucket close,
talk, though?
yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket?
Oh,
This is
dear.
all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
What happened to the bucket?
Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
This
Could it
is
truly be?
weird.
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
This is getting
Come to me,
creepy.
Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity.
How will I
And
know
then
which one is
suddenly,
mine?
He froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was
Boo.
incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Wait, what? No!
This
Damn
is
it.
a story of a woman named Mariella.
Wait, what?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Oh no.
She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
No, not this
But
one
on this
again.
particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew
Gosh
what the
darn it.
problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel
Wait,
the world
with
can
such
be,
an
Mariella
addicting
thought.
thing, how can the
And she hugged her
bucket
own bucket
be
even
something you
tighter.
can forget?
But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total
Where does
clarity
she
on
get the
everything.
bucket?
Heck yes, she thought to herself. My life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
She's very nimble. Was she wearing heels while doing that?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There's any...
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Okay, so it's not this way.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the
how do we get
employee
back to the
lounge
red and
was
blue
simply
door
the
again?
place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, I don't think that's the way to...
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yeah, good.
Said the bucket.
Now
just
ride the
jump
lift
off,
all the way to the
or
top.
is
There's
it
something
over
up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, whatever the bucket asked.
No, is it over here?
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a...
Okay, so it's not this way. Do I just jump off?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
How do we
Stanley
get to
clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend.
Oh, no.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Oh, come on!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow.
Yeah, I know.
Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest
How do I
and
get back
entered
to
the
the
door on his left.
door? I completely forgot how to do that.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go... And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
No, I can't do that. Can't go this way either. Warehouse H access plan. How do I get there again? Somewhere both red and blue. I know what that is, but I don't remember how to get to that point. No.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to...
I don't get why I'm lagging. Does it have to do with the elevator? Is there even an upstairs? No, I don't think it's this way. How do I get back to the red and blue door?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Oh.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
So we go down here and then what? I don't remember
The
how to get
elevator
back to
raced
the red and blue
downward,
door.
plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of
wait,
uncertainty,
do I need to
he
just
would
go
be
there
all right.
without the bucket?
The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
I think I just need to go there without
Stanley
the
and the
bucket.
bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
It's fine, let's just finish this.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
It's fine.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Okay. Oh.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
What's we?
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What
I don't know, I
kinds
don't
of
care,
things
I just
does a
wanna
bucket
get through
want
this.
to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
What do you mean feeble?
He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His
My
one
life in
friend
your
in the
control,
entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
I guess.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this...
It's fine.
The greatest and
Sorry
darkest
about that, the
enemy
game glitched
freed
a little.
themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
No!
The facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Okay, so we just got to that other
All of his co-workers were gone.
position
What could
without
it mean?
the bucket.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Yep.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
No, I
just
did
to
not.
admire it.
I want to
Stanley
get to the
felt
red
lightheaded,
and blue door.
butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
Yep.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Uh-huh.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Yes, you
I
are.
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
I've trusted
There's someone
you
you've
too
been
many
neglecting,
times.
Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are
Yes.
you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your
There
side.
it is.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
Let's
Savor this
go.
moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many
Most
people expect to be
definitely.
rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that.
Oh,
So,
come on.
instead
It's
I'll
not
just
that
say,
hard.
it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
What? No. Fine.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Nah.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Fine.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
No.
And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Nope. 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 Oh God, fine.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Did
If
we
we
see this
just
last
stay
time?
right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I
This is
actually
kinda
feel
peaceful.
happy.
I like this. I don't want to leave. I like this. This is cool. This is good. Yes. This is blinding. Oh, yes. I love this. Yes. All the yes. This is perfect. This, honestly, perfect. Just the way it is. Okay. As beautiful as it is, we cannot stay forever. Sadly. Let's go.
No, wait. Where are you going?
I have to get back to business.
Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
It's fine.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Okay. And I'm gonna do it anyway.
No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment.
I think I broke my ankles,
Can we please get back to the other room?
Fine. Ooh, what's this? Whatever. Ooh, new patterns.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
I'm gonna leave again.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
You're ignoring me now?
No. What do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Nothing really. I don't remember this part. Adios.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for...
Let's go back.
Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
Is there anything here, though?
I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
No, perhaps not.
Why am I walking slower?
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Not really, but I guess.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
You've been rude to me so many freaking times, and you want me to be nice to you in return? Treat others how you want to be treated.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Goodbye. Peace and tranquility was never an option. We found all the standables now, which is pretty cool if I do say so myself.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one.
Wait,
Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Okay. When Stanley found the collectibles. I hope you remember in which places it was. Let's go. Yeah.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Then after that, I believe it was, yes, Over here.
And here was a second Stanley. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Where am I supposed to go now? Oh, there we go.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini-Stan? Can you remember?
It was under the stairs. Because I went under the stairs and then I went back upstairs.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Okay. Next was the boss's bathroom.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
No, it was the boss's bathroom next. And then it was this one.
This was the 5th mini-Stan, and this one was really something special. It was behind the boss's office. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion.
Wait,
Enjoy.
what? Oh my word! Let's go! I love this. Great video, man. 10 out of 10. Perfect.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
8 minutes? I thought it would take a bit more effort than that. Oh.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Oh, now what?
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
It is what it is.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Okay. You gonna do it right this time, though? With the boss's bathroom?
Okay, yes. The room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we want?
Yes.
Yes, I love that video.
This is the incorrect one.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Well, it's because the boss's bathroom is supposed to be...
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Technically, you are rewarding me by giving me new content. Wait, can I go collect this one? I guess I cannot. I've been scammed. Oh!
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
You have some issues.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figlarine.
Yeah.
Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Not much, to be honest.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then.
Jump.
But time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it. Oh, yes! The two doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
And our little office.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Now what?
Is there anything else?
Nope.
Was there something that came before your office?
No.
There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
No, you cannot, because there was nothing.
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore.
Wait, what?
But he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what?
That sounds
Since
just
we're
wrong.
in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling this story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
So what, we're doing one more run of the office and then it's just done? Okay, I'm down.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Do I take the bucket this time? I don't think so.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh yes. This time I'm actually going to do everything right.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
And we'll just speed run through this. What was it again? 2845?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
No.
Was the bucket guiding him?
Maybe.
Yes,
This is certainly the most logical explanation.
This time we say turn on the system. Instead of turning it off.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Well, yes.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Not much. We've seen it all before. But we are gonna get the
monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Everything will not be fine, Bucket. We are gonna take over the world, and
Was
then
the
everything
bucket
will
under
be
the
fine.
mind control facility's influence as well?
I have
Had
no
the
idea.
bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place?
I don't know.
These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never!
We
He
just
squeezed
finished the part
bucket
where you
tighter.
said it was
His one
all
friend
your
in the
control.
entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Yet you want
But
me to
here was
trust
the
you.
proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this... But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
Oh dear.
Stanley gasped in horror.
Oh,
Had
no.
this been the bucket's plan all along?
Yes.
To take over the machine and claim the power for itself?
Yes.
How could the bucket have betrayed him like this?
Betrayed?
Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket
I'm
away
its
in
willing
disgust
slave.
when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds.
Silly breath.
Silly. Silly birds.
No!
The control buttons became active again.
Is it just gonna be different silly bird videos? I love this. Yes. Only yes.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all
Oh,
over
this
the
is
world.
pretty cute. I
The
love
mind
it.
controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
Oh.
Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
Yes.
And Stanley
Indeed.
was happy.
I am. I, Stanley, am very happy. And I believe that's it. I don't think there's anything else we can do in this game. Like, at all. Except redo the final ending again without the bucket, but we know how that ending goes, so I think we've done it all. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, especially if you want to see more. And if you don't want to miss anything, become a part of the Alpha Squad and subscribe. It's an awesome squad to be a part of, and I'll see everyone next time. I am back. I just saw that there's an epilogue, so let's see what it is. That must mean I've done everything, right? Right? Epilogue. Many, many years later. So I did do everything in the game. Oh. Wait. We're here again? But there's nothing here. Anything in that direction? I have a chair. And the fireplace. Wait, what? Oh, look at the moon. No! More office chairs and a sandstorm, apparently. Okay. This is interesting, to say the very least. I wonder if the guy from the time settings is going to be here. Now it's just nighttime again? Okay. Full moon! Called it. And daytime. Nighttime! Daytime! So, do I just walk into the sunset? No, I guess not. Oh! The memory zone. Is that a generator? Looks like it. Why is everything broken? Hello? Anyone here? Oh! Wait. Oh! Review the Stanley Parable 2. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with the sequel. No. That's more like a wah wah. Stanley Parable developers. The gem button.
Gem.
Hehehe. Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels. There's gem buttons. Oh wait, are we supposed to follow the wire? Anything back here? No. Stanleys! Stanables! The hole! Wait, can I collect them? I can! Any more? Okay, it's not. Down the hole we go! Really, this one's not infinite either. Doors and choices. Hello again. We found you! Hi! It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you again too. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Excuse me. Something in my throat. Did you read what the developers said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense! The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not that hard. In fact, let me show you. Together we are going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also need a really dumb subtitle for the game. Something loud and gaudy. Go ahead and try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. Stanley Parable 3. Forbidden Paperwork. Bum bum bum. It's absurd. I love it. It's the first choice. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end, and nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content, recycled again and again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. You know what? Keep it as it is. I say don't do it. I understand. Sometimes we're not ready to move on. That's fine. If you ever change your mind and want to start inventing new sequels, come talk to me. I'll be right here. In the epilogue. Now we did everything in the game. So, as I said earlier, don't forget to like the video, and I'll see everyone next time.